All right. Today is December 29th. This is our last Thursday of Backdrop meetings of 2022. And this is our fortnightly design and user experience meeting. We're going to go around and do some quick introductions. If you want to share your name, where you're from, and anything else that might be fun and relevant and not already on the agenda, you're welcome to do that. I'm going to go first, and then when I'm done, I'm going to call on someone randomly. This is called popcorn. And then when they're done popping their kernel, they can call on someone else. So, Chad Lampton, I'm joining from Oakland, California. I am currently working on the field group module in core issue. Last week I made a lot of progress on the pull request and I broke everything. So progress there is questionable. But once I get, I think I deleted some functions that I thought weren't used but were used. But once I get that up, I'm going to be looking for user experience feedback on that. I know, Martin, you added a comment. You're like, let me know where we're at. Well, once I get it working, I'll be able to indicate the different pieces we need testing on just to make sure that it makes sense for people who are using it. So that is my weekly tidbit. And then I'm going to call on Robert.
I'm Robert Lang, bug folder on the internet in Altadena, California. And lately I've been working on UberCart and sanitizing city CRMs.
Is it just me? I'm having a hard time hearing Robert.
Oh.
Is it just me?
Might just be you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But I'll speak up a little bit more and move closer to the mic. I'm Robert Lang, bug folder on the internet in Altadena, California. Lately working on UberCart and sanitizing city CRM, and can report that we now have sanitized city CRM DBs on backdropcms.org. So anyone who wants to build a local site and play around with it without risk of exposing data can now do so. Martin.
I'm Martin Price, web developer in the United Kingdom, Northeast England. I've mainly been working on my own site recently. I've taken a break from any contrib or core stuff at the moment. So go to Tim.
I'm Tim Erickson. I'm St. Paul Tim on the internet, and normally in Deerwood, Minnesota, but today I'm in Hopkins, Minnesota, where I have been in the area for the holidays this week. So lots of family stuff going on. Going to meet up with some old Drupal friends for beers tonight. Excited about that. See some Drupal folks I haven't seen in a while. Also really busy with client stuff and a little bit of I haven't had time to be in the issue too much, which for feature freeze, which is disappointing, but happy to see that other some things done. Exciting. Thanks. That's all.
Great. Thank you, everybody. On our agenda for today, we have two user experience issues that Martin recommended from the forum post. Martin, do you want to talk about either or both of those?
Yeah, I mean, they're slightly related, and it's basically about the usability of being able to find views, particularly when you've got a site where you've built up quite a lot of separate views, and trying to find them can be quite problematic. Firstly, in the admin menu, they disappear off the bottom of the screen, so you can't reach the lower ones, and then in the list, it can be quite long, and especially when you get the individual components of each view then listed, it gets really long, and things are. So the first issue was one I raised, which was about allowing a form of grouping in the admin menu. So the admin menu for views is built dynamically by the views module, and it would be great if we could set a tag or a group for a view, and then they would form virtual folders in that, subfolders in the views bit of the admin menu, so that you can group them. So all your web form ones would be in one folder. Any that you had for helping people manage content would be in one. Your events ones could all be in another folder, and so on. The second issue was, I think it was raised on the back of the discussion that we had about that by Robert, about restoring an old D7 setting, which allowed you to have a filter on the views list, which seems to have disappeared. So yeah, the two are very related, and I think that possibly the second one is going to be the easiest to implement if there was a D7 feature and it's just somehow dropped out.
Yeah, we removed that for usability improvement because the views page itself was such a mess to start off with. And I think, if I remember correctly, our plan was to put in the same sort of JavaScript filter that we have on like the modules page on that page, rather than using the old clunky views PHP filter. So we got the remove part done, but we didn't get the like add back the better feature option. So we're sort of stuck with nothing there right now. So I don't know if it definitely would be easier to add back the old feature, but I don't know if it would be that much more work to build the JavaScript feature that we'd originally intended to. I don't even know if there's an issue for that. If there is, it's probably a really old one and may be something like add JavaScript search widgets to the following 18 places, right? And there may not be a specific one for that views page, but we might want to prioritize that because there are a lot of sites that have a lot of views, and trying to find those views, as you pointed out, is hard in every location. The way that I used to solve this in Drupal 7, and this is just a hacky workaround, is to use the admin menu, but don't make it like sticky at top of pages, and then the scroll button will get you to all the views that are like below the fold of the page. But I think we have that setting on by default in Backdrop, which I think would be better in every other scenario except for when your menu like extends beyond the page. So sometimes on my sites with lots of views, I go and turn that off. But not a solution, just like I'm frustrated by this, I'm going to turn this on thing. So I definitely think we should work on that. I think that we should, and I don't know if there's any, I haven't read the issue, so I don't know if there's any discussion on the JavaScript versus not JavaScript option. But I think this is the kind of thing that like Greg could get really passionate about if you wanted to bring him in. He's done a lot of work on the JavaScript search on the modules page. He also has some experience on that. But yeah, I think that's definitely something we should work on. For the menu, this is a much harder problem to solve because the way the admin menu works right now is that the menu is like an accurate reflection of the actual URL structure, and the URL structure for views admin doesn't have any room in there for like the extra like directory. And if we were going to try and change the directory structure, that would lead to a whole bunch of other issues with the views admin system, which I wouldn't want to do. So instead, what we would want to do is just manipulate the menu in a way that doesn't match the URL structure. But I don't know if that's something we want to do in core, because we aren't doing that anywhere else in core. It's always an exact map. And if we're going to start having like weird like individual issues where it does things different ways for different reasons, that seems like it could be a little bit of a bike shed issue. So I would recommend the admin bar has an API for altering it. And we use this API in a bunch of places to add like, is it like the content types to under the like manage content list? Like there's a bunch of them where in core we're using the API to add those sub items. I think we might even be doing it for views. I don't know if views module is doing that or if admin bar is doing that, but
Yeah.
I think we can leverage that same thing to just sort of like rearrange the order there. So then all we need is to figure out how to define the groupings. And I think there might be something, I'm trying to remember where this is in views. It might be in the like name description area.
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
someone pointed out there is
That-
a
that seems
tag
like a
in
lot.
there, but it's a multi-value field, so that could be problematic if someone has put multiple values in.
Yeah.
There were tags that are already there, but I mean, if one were doing this grouping, you must have only a single group based on what we're doing, and that would seem like another field, but then that would mean storing some other field in core. I mean, in the views config, which if it's not in core, might be hard.
I wonder though if you do have to have only one, because if what the module does is essentially add a like sub tab in there and then group all those links and put them below the sub tab, if you had a view that was tagged with like default and web form, you could have a tab called web form and a tab called default, and when you hovered over it you could see the link to that page in two places, because we're not actually changing the path anymore, we're just building a more sensible structure. So we might, and that I think might make more sense, because if people have already decided that this list is both related to a web form and related to an event or whatever it is, their instinct might be to look under both of those categories to find it. And so I think we should put the answer sort of in every place people go to find it. So I think that sounds reasonable. So yeah, it would be like, if you were going to write a custom module, there would be this API like admin bar, whatever, alter hook. You'd need to take the current structure of the view or the current structure of the admin menu, get all of the views, figure out what all the tags are, order all the tags, build all the links the way you want, and then just redraw that section of the menu with all those sub items. So I don't think it's going to be terribly complicated in terms of that kind of solution. And I think that if we had that contrib module and we're like, this is all that was required to do it, that would also be a much stronger argument for core, where you could be like, look, it's not that messy. Whereas if you just start saying like, we're going to change the way the admin menu works so that it doesn't work like it does everywhere else, that sounds really scary. So I think that would be my approach, would be to get a contrib module, even if it's not contrib, even just like, I wrote a custom module to do this on my one site and it's not ready for contrib release. Just having that example, I think, would be compelling for core developers.
Yeah, I did have a try and look at how views is using the menu API, and I couldn't see how I could alter that with contrib, with views always doing it. So it might be that it is fairly straightforward, but I couldn't work out how to approach it.
I wouldn't recommend looking at the way it does the menu stuff. I think that's going to be really hard, but there should be like an admin bar specific thing where it takes all of the menu entries and then draws the admin bar, and that's where I think it would be easier to manipulate. Because if you're messing with the menu entry in views, that's like the router items and the argument handling, and that's where I'm just like, whoa, views is complicated enough. If it's working, I don't want to touch it. But yeah, the admin bar is really just like the visual representation of it. And I think it's going to be much easier to manipulate in there, because you're not going to break anything in views. You're just going to be messing with the links to the pages in views, which I think is going to be simpler. So I'm not sure if you saw that in views module. It might also be in admin bar module, because in admin bar, we do add a lot of those implementations on behalf of other modules. So
Right. Okay.
I don't know where it is for that one. But yeah, I would love to make views easier to find now that I have sites with lots of views. I'm also turning off that admin bar setting a lot, which I don't like. Thank you for bringing these up. I think focusing on stuff like this is definitely going to make Backdrop much easier to use for people. This also reminds me of an issue I had for view modes, where in Drupal you can edit like each like display mode, I guess, in Backdrop are in the admin bar, and in Backdrop they're not. And I was trying to figure out how to add them back in. And so there's a core issue somewhere that's like the view mode display options are missing from Backdrop. And it was the same thing where all I had to do was like build the links to the paths, but I was having the hardest time just building the links to the view mode pages because the view mode configuration is not necessary. It's not necessarily sort of the content type. It's like, oh, there's just like mysterious view modes, and you have to like get the field information to figure out which view modes are active for which one. And I did it poorly several times. But that does remind me that it could be tricky to get the actual paths of what you want. I think with views, it might be a little easier because there's only one place you have to check, which is all of the views information. But I don't know. Look at how maybe views module added them initially and steal that. So what I was stealing from Drupal wasn't working for me.
It looks like Greg's already had a look at these. Yes, we'll see.
I faded in and out. This is not something that we're close to getting in this.
Oh
feature.
no,
Oh, no.
Okay.
definitely not.
Okay.
No, it's just something I came across this
Sure.
week and thought I should raise an issue for it. So, but who knows,
I-
it might end up being one of the things that distracts me from working on my own site. It doesn't take much to.
I know that problem. Are we done on that issue?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So I was just looking at a different issue, and Jen, I have the power to close and reopen pull requests, and I found an issue that the sandbox is dead.
Okay.
There's nothing, I don't know, I don't do anything with that power, but there's no reason I shouldn't close and reopen a pull request if I just want to recreate a sandbox. Is that
Nope, it's totally fine.
okay? Good.
Go
Just
crazy.
wanted to confirm that. Well, I think we added some limits now. They have expiration dates.
Yeah, maybe don't go crazy. I think we can only have like 100 sandboxes at a time or something
Right.
like that. So if we went through the entire issue queue and like reopened all like however many pull requests we have, we would run out of sandboxes. But if you're working on the issue, by all means, that should be one of the 100s. So 100.
Do you know if if the patch needs to be re-rolled, could that block the sandbox? Because the sandbox isn't regenerating, and it's saying something about this is pull request 4227.
Usually what would happen is if there was some kind of a like massive merge conflict, it might, like if you look at the test failures, the first one would be like set up testing, and it would fail before it even got to run the tests. And if that happened, that could be like an indicator like, oh, maybe the sandbox wouldn't set up either because there's such a problem. I haven't seen that happen before, but it is entirely possible if it's really old that it would not work at all.
Okay. I'm actually going to try closing it and leaving it a little bit longer closed because it didn't. We'll see. This is it's an issue I opened. if we're not talking about anything right now, it's an issue about providing a list of enabled modules for debugging problems in core. There's been some discussion about it. I just noticed that there was a PR. I haven't looked at the PR yet, even though I was the one who originally opened the issue. So I was going to take a look and see if this is a UX improvement that might be near, something that could get in, although again, I don't know if there's consensus yet that we want to do it. So
Is this for what's it called? Telemetry? Is that
no,
what the modules are for?
it's
Just
The-
something
the-
that's
the-
not the
the issue-
modules page?
the issue is 5791, and the
Okay.
impetus was that frequently people ask questions in the forum, and people say, well, give us a list of enabled modules.
Hmm.
And I went and looked around, and there isn't an obvious, easy way to do it. You can create a view, it turns out, to show all
Only,
enabled
I think you
modules.
have to add a module for that to get the view.
No,
No?
I don't think so.
Well, it's issue 5791, if we want to look at it really quick and just see if that's if it's something that we would want to do. I was hoping that I would have a sandbox I could look at, but I'm still working on it.
This could be related to if it's really just like an information dump.
Yeah.
There's another issue. Oh, I'll have to remember what it's called. Okay. While I was working on the backdrop upgrade status module, I had it generate a bunch of reports like these are all of the modules you have currently on your Drupal 7 site. And there's someone, it was probably Irina, who was like, I want this on all of my websites. And so I think she or Greg or someone made an issue to just put like a general reporting section
Right.
in that would have that in it. And this could be like the first page of that section, like if this got ready. But it might be good to think about how it would work in the larger scheme of things, like rather than, I don't know what the current pull request does, but you don't either. So, but yeah, that just could be interesting. I dropped a link.
There's another issue, 5821, that's create a printable status report. I don't know if that's what you're thinking of.
Hmm.
This was opened in response to the other one, and somebody
What was
saying
that? 58,
5821.
21.
Wait. Yeah, 5821. This may be kind of a duplicate. There may be other very similar issues that are older.
This could just be as simple as adding a style sheet, though, to this issue. Like, just put a print button on it with print CSS, and then it would have
Oh.
everything in a status report.
I thought it was also adding more information, but maybe not.
I mean, I don't think there's any value to add information that people can't see. Like if we're going to collect the information, we should show people.
Well, yes, yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. So if it's going to be something that's visible on the page, then we should just have that page be printable, rather than trying to build something that only works for printing. Yeah, this looks like it. I mean, I haven't read the whole thing, but it looks like people are just talking about stuff that's already on the status report. So do you know, Tim, for the issue that you're working on, are they wanting to put the complete list of enabled modules on the status report? This is somewhere.
I was the one who filed the request, and I don't know if I specified where to put it. Indigo Zella created a PR, and I'm not sure where she put it, although this is issue 5791, and I imagine it says somewhere in the issue, in the discussion about where it is. So it looks like Indigo Zella put it under reports. She just added a report that's enabled modules. But I don't know that it's been decided that's the best place to put it yet.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
I'm still working on seeing if I can get this PR to work. Or the sandbox. It's been closed for a few minutes. I'm going to try reopening it one more time. we'll see if a sandbox gets generated. Anyways, we don't need to talk about this. I just stumbled across it browsing through the issues.
Interesting. So Doc Woman posted a link to WordPress has a website information report module. Sounds valuable. But yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking too, is that this would be a separate module that would contain all of this other information, but there's no reason we can't add like one page to the status report now and then later move it into another core module if we decided we wanted to do that. So we could have
If I
that.
can get this sandbox working, I will take a look at this and comment on that.
Okay. This looks neat. I'm gonna go see if I can find, I think it's probably linked from the issue queue for the backdrop upgrade status module. I'm gonna see if I can find the other issue for, I want all of the information on all of things. That included like all of your content types, if there was content in them, all of your fields, if there was values in all of your field stuff, all of your users and your roles and how many users of each role and how many users are blocked. It was just like the information everywhere. And so I think like on the update status report, it's like all in one giant page, sort of unmanaged. And that might make more sense to be like split it into a module, have each one be like its own nice little report, have each little report be printable. And then if we do need to end up using that for like a backdrop upgrade status to backdrop 2 or something, if that was already in core, that would be really valuable to people. So yeah, I don't see any reason why that should prevent this, but I would like to link them together just so that people can see.
Yep.
That's great. I'm just gonna add a note here to go find it. Okay. Is there anything else we should be talking about? I just very quickly went and grabbed all of the UX issues that were labeled with milestone candidate bug just to see what people were working on.
Anything interesting?
The sorting table icons, I think we talked about this a few weeks ago. Were you here for this, Tim?
That sounds familiar. I don't know if I had strong opinions though.
This is issue 5865, where a while ago we changed our sorting icons from like the carrots that pointed up and down to like the little list, but apparently depending on your worldview, a list can mean different things. And so, yeah, I think maybe having the arrow and the like item sort was really confusing to people. Like you didn't know whether it was sorting top down or bottom up, because the lines were different direction than the arrow. So then someone recommended moving it, and then other people were like, well, why don't we just put it back to what we had before? And it's like, well, now we could also just use like a cute arrow. So yeah, I think that the current icons are confusing. I'd love to see a change. I don't know if anyone has worked on that in the last month, it looks like, but
yeah, there's not a PR for it, is there?
No.
I don't see one, so.
Nope.
But
that could be a quick thing that we could get done for the next release if we wanted.
Yep.
Again,
Also something that isn't affected by the feature freeze, is it? Because it's just a simple UX.
Oh yeah. Yep. And then let's see.
How about issue 5747? That has a PR. The user edit create form. I don't remember being involved in this discussion. Oh, I do remember hearing about it though.
Oh yeah. What? This is closed. Wait, what issue? 5747?
No, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong number.
Oh.
5783.
83.
It's listed as a UX. It's on the milestone. It's also a, not a code freeze one, but I think it basically, I remember discussions about this. I think there was some consensus. Don't need all this. Actually, it looks like Greg is the only one that's commented on it, so maybe there hasn't been any discussion yet.
He does have a pull request on it though. Interesting. I sort of agree with him on this one, but yeah, I want to go look at the pull request.
Yeah.
Interesting. And the solution is really simple. So that's nice too. Okay, thanks for bringing that one up. There is one that's marked works for me. This is issue 4586. Move the add new X to the bottom of each flyout menu.
4586.
Yeah. So this is mine from a while ago. This is just what, like when I'm using the admin menu and I'm trying to find something, I usually want to look through all the things that already exist before I add a new one. And having the add new thing at the top means that you have to like hover and scroll more. It's just harder to navigate to get to wherever you need by a millimeter or centimeter or whatever it is, top. And so I would prefer to have it say list at the top if you want to get to the page that lists, and then all of the list items, and then add at the bottom. And so it looks like someone made a pull request for that one, and it's marked works for me.
Yeah.
It was me.
Yes, Olaf marked it, works for me. Looks like I've looked at the functionality and I'm fine with it. So we probably just needs a code review.
Great.
Let's, I'm assuming this is a pretty simple one, right?
Yeah.
Are you asking for a code review somewhere or?
I just put it into the agenda and said needs code review, but yeah, I should ask in Zulip.
Oh. I wonder if it's a one line, well, no, it's a one character change.
What?
Can that be? Look at the,
Look at it.
am I looking?
Oh yeah. Yep. 5 characters.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
5 characters.
6 maybe if you count the space.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
I might even go out on a limb and give that a.
If you give it a RTBC, then a core committer will look at it. So
Exactly.
yeah.
I feel comfortable looking at something like this and just marking it RTBC.
Yay.
Yeah, why don't I just do that? Is anybody else here? Robert? Have you had a chance to look at this issue?
I haven't.
Can you, here, I'm going to share my screen. I want you to back me up on this complicated code review.
Looks pretty straightforward. All it's doing is changing the weight in the menu, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
We're looking at
Okay.
3277, full 3277.
Well, speak up if any. Okay, I'm not going to share my screen.
We're
I'm
looking
just
at
gonna-
full 3277 for issue 4586. One line, changing the weight.
Yeah.
I think I can review that one.
Well, if we're in agreement, I'm going to mark it RTBC because I don't get to do that very often.
and I agree that that's a good move.
Okay. Look at that. We got something done today.
Yeah, there's another one. If you guys are interested, it is issue number 4480. Link autocomplete suggestions. Show human readable names instead of machine readable names for layouts. And there's a pull request for this one too. It is not a 1-line change, but it is a 7-line change. So it just adds the some code in there to get the human readable name for the layout and use that one instead. It looks really straightforward. I am happy to mark this one code reviewed, but it needs someone to test it. I don't know if the sandbox is working. Let's give it a shot.
You say this is 4480?
4480, yes. To get in here. Layout, that sandbox is still working? Hmm. Password is not working though.
Well, preview expired on 20th July. We need to close and reopen.
Okay, we get a new one. I wonder if that same URL was reused for a different pull request. And that's why we still got it, even though it expired. I don't know. But anyway, that looks like another good candidate for potentially getting in. Let's see. Layout field blocks, better
One of my
admin.
bugbears, it's got truthy conditions.
Uh-oh.
But I don't think
RTBC
that should-
removed.
That should stop it, but it's
The one I was looking at earlier, the sandbox has never been made. It's been 12 minutes. So I think that there's a merge conflict that's blocking the.
Yeah, sometimes when that happens, you have to close the pull request, change the branch name, and open a new pull request because there's something in the GitHub side of things where if you keep force pushing to the same branch, it just won't fix itself on the preview side of things. So I would say if you're going to work on that.
Well, it's
Just-
not my pull request, it's IndigoZella's, so I'd either have to open a new one, which would
Yeah.
solve the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll see. I might take a look at that.
Okay. I'm gonna leave this. Let's see what.
Oh.
Here's another one. This one looks a little bit more complicated. Issue number 4298. Layout field blocks, better admin titles, and admin preview. So this is a Greg issue with the Greg PR. This looks good.
Which issue again?
4298.
Oh gosh, that one's been sitting around forever. That's probably gonna need a new sandbox.
Yeah,
Actually,
44
it doesn't even
Yeah.
have.
4480 failed now due to PHPCS. So
Interesting.
What'd you say, Robert? I couldn't hear that.
Sorry, 4480, the layout names in the autocomplete dropdown failed due to PHPCS in touch in the, and it's real as opposed to one of the, was it an overlong line, it looks like. So it will need suggestion.
So Robert, was that just an observation or is there something that, some action that needs?
No, there's an action. There's further editing that needs to happen.
Right, but nothing for us to talk about here.
What?
Nothing we need to do here at this meeting.
No.
No. But still, progress. You moved that issue forward.
Yeah.
It's been sitting for a while. Nice. Oh, I think I remember that one.
Right declaration is too long.
Yeah.
In system module though. Interesting. Okay. Let's see what else we got here.
Oh, okay. Well, is this a UX?
What?
Well, okay. I'm excited about this one because it looks like I don't know who Cade Bahi is, but it looks like he submitted a patch for issue 1583. I think Clonos has given him some feedback. But I don't recognize that name. I don't know if anybody else does. But if that's a new contributor, it's always good to. So there's been activity on this issue in the last 4 days.
I've come across this guy submitted submitted a fix in the BQ.
Okay,
So
it might be relatively recent to our issue queue, but
yeah,
because it sounds like he hasn't been up, that somebody needs to approve him. Actually, I wonder if that's something I can do. Okay, I approved the PR to just run. Jen, are you writing PRs or what?
I'm just adding a comment.
Oh, okay. I figured you just filed an issue and we're halfway through a new PR.
No, I found a minor text improvement on one of Greg's pull requests, and I think he's gonna love it. So I just wanted to add the comment.
Sure.
Okay, sorry.
I don't
We're
know if
almost
you-
out of time.
Okay, I don't know if you had a chance to look at that last issue I raised, but it's one that you opened that this relatively new guy wrote a PR on, so you might want to look at it. It's
What's the number?
1583. That's an old one.
Ooh.
I don't understand the issue. I haven't looked close enough, but I just see that there's activity in a fresh PR, and that got me excited.
Okay. Oh yeah, removing things. I love removing things.
Well,
Oh, does
although
it not
don't
in
know
the
if he
end?
does remove it. I think he might
Okay.
remove it.
I can read the issue.
Yeah, we could wrap up the meeting. Should I go ahead and should we officially wrap up the meeting and turn off
Yeah.
the stream? That
We
sounds
can
good.
wrap up the meeting and then start prepping for dev meeting, but I'll have a look at that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, well, that was good. I think we did a few useful things. Bye, everybody.